Hi, we are Jeremiah,
Fonzie,
and Brian.
and this is our Astronomy Important Figures and Groups project.
Firstly, the Mesopotamians lived around 4000 BC and developed early calendars. They had ziggurats to help them with astronomy by getting them away from the ground and giving them a clear view of the sky. The Mesopotamians also came up with the idea of 360 degrees in a circle.
The Egyptians, like the Mesopotamians around 4000 BC, developed a calendar. The Egyptians also aligned their three pyramids to the three stars on the Orion Belt, which is located in the Orion constellation.
Stonehenge was built between 5000 and 3000 BC and was possibly a calendar or observatory. It was used for rituals based on space. The Chinese recorded observations of eclipses around the 13th century. They also observed and studied the comet Halley.
Thales made his discovery between 624 and 547 BC. He predicted a total eclipse.
Babylonians existed around 500 BC and figured out how long each planet's syndonic period is. They developed ideas of astrology and horoscopes.
Aristotle adopted the Eudoxus model in between 384 and 322 BC, saying all celestial objects must be spheres.
Aristarchus made his discoveries between 310 and 230 BC. He was the first astronomer to place the sun at the center of the solar system and have the rest revolve around it.
Eratosthenes was the first person to calculate the circumference of the Earth. He made this discovery between 276 and 195 BC.
Hipparchus made accurate models of the sun and the moon between 190 and 120 BC and is considered the greatest astronomical observer.
The Mayans loved the practice of astronomy. The science reflected the gods. They created accurate 365-day calendars and aligned their temples with the stars.
Ptolemy lived in AD 127 to 151, and he completed a system that accurately accounted for the planet's motions. He didn't create the idea, but rather completed previous models. The Arabs and the Muslims lived in the 7th century up to the 15th century and helped revive Western astronomy. They did this by preserving Greek studies and building observatories. Living in 1473 to 1453, Copernicus developed the first heliocentric model of the solar system. Using an ancient knowledge like Ptolemy, he also wrote a book. Brahe was born in 1546 and passed in 1601, and he built large metal instruments to observe the stars. He had very accurate observations and had 10 times as many observations as all the Renaissance astronomers combined. Galileo was a great astronomer, born in 1564 and lived to 1642. Galileo did not invent the telescope, but rather was the first to use it to observe the stars. When he observed the stars, he saw that the stars are actually galaxies and clusters of stars. Also, he observed planets are not perfect spheres, and he observed many other things with the metal instruments he built. Last, he wrote a book about the heliocentric theory, which still exists to today. From 1642 to 1726, in which Isaac Newton lived, he theorized his major laws of motion and laws of gravity. Next to that, he had an empirical law of cooling and the speed of sound. Finally, he built the first practical reflecting telescope.
Edmund Halley calculated the correct orbit of Halley's comet between 1656 and 1742. In the 1900s, Albert Einstein developed the general theory of relativity, one of the two pillars of modern physics. Einstein's work is also known for its influence on science. Einstein also received the Nobel Peace Prize for his work in 1921.
Niels Bohr was a Danish physicist who made foundational contributions to understanding atomic structure and quantum theory, for which he received the Nobel Prize in Physics in 1922. Bohr was also a philosopher and a purveyor of science research.
Wolfgang Pauli was a theoretical physicist that received the Nobel Prize in Physics for his discoveries on the structure of matter, better known as the spin theory.
Werner Heisenberg was a theoretical physicist and was most known for the uncertainty principle, which is any variety of mathematical inequalities asserting a fundamental limit to the precision of certain pairs of physical properties in a particle. He made these discoveries between 1901 and 1976.
Robert Oppenheimer contributed to modern theories of neutron stars, mesons, and bosons. He even did work on quantum physics. Between 1915 and 2001, Fred Hoyle created his theories on nucleosynthesis. He also made many controversial theories on astronomy. Penzias and Wilson published a book in 1958 saying the universe was created with a Big Bang. They also discovered cosmic background radiation by accident. As we all know, Neil Armstrong and Buzz Aldrin were the first humans to step on the moon on July 20th, 1969. On that same day, they collected materials for study from the lunar surface on July 20th, 1969.